Okay, it's 11 a.m. here, so let's get started. Welcome to our June What's New and What's Next in Me Too. I'm Dermot, and of course this is Dave. Say hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
As you might have noticed, our June update to the platform was shipped yesterday, and we're particularly excited about this one as it contains two great new features.
Very excited.
For you all to start using. That's great. So, as always, we're going to be using Me Too throughout the session, and as this release does contain some new features, Dave's going to be giving you a full demonstration of how they work. So it's really, really important that you connect to our Me Too session to be able to take part and actually experience it from a participant point of view. We also want to get as much content into it as possible to really show these features off. So access Me Too, you can see it on your screens now, either via the native app on iOS or Android, or go to the web app at web.me2.io. And then our meeting ID for this session is 161434258. Okay, the usual agenda for today. First, we'll go through what's new, then what's next, and then a bit of Q&A. If you've put any questions in on the Me Too discussion board, we will get to those at the end and have a discussion about those. But as I mentioned, we're going to be focusing on the new features of this release. And as I've said, Dave's going to be giving you a full demonstration, so please access Me Too. You can see the web app link is down the bottom of every slide, so if you haven't already got on the app, please do so now. Well, to kick things off, I think we've got a poll initially.
I'll just open that.
Thanks, Dave. So which of the following Me Too features do you use? And this is a question that I want you to select all that apply. So please do that and then press send. So is it polling in the dashboard, polling in the Me Too PowerPoint add-in? Do you use the messaging or Q&A or discussion board, however you like to call it? Then there's reporting, there's the customization of both the info screen and the app theme, and then the projector display. So I'll just give you a second or two to put your responses in there, and as I said, select all that apply, the features that you use, and then press send to submit your responses. Okay, I think we should take that. Yeah. And we'll have a look at the results briefly. Wow, what a spread. I was expecting one or two to come out on top there, but I think we can just take it that all of the Me Too features are being used well. That's really great to see. Not so many using the projector display.
But that's interesting, because I think that we've seen this result a couple of times, and I think certainly with this new feature we're about to show, it'd be interesting to see if that changes in the future. Yeah.
True. So it's great to see that, but also my main reason for asking that question was actually to see how many of you are participating, and judging by the numbers that we've got actually on the broadcast today, there are still a few of you that are yet to connect to the app, so please use the web app link down the bottom of the slide there to get us all connected. Okay then, so what's new in this release? Well, we've got two main feature additions. First of all, it's word clouds. So this is a word cloud generator in the Me Too projector display, and that will create these clouds based on the responses to an open text poll. Then we've got the correct answer in the Me Too PowerPoint add-in. So this gives a bit of parity between the correct answer functionality that's was pushed into the dashboard a little while ago, and obviously now bringing that through to the PowerPoint add-in as well, which I think is going to be very useful and certainly something a lot of our customers have been asking for. So I imagine you want to see these features straight away rather than me talking about them. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Dave to take you through them.
Thank you very much, Dermot. And we'll actually start with another poll. What would you like to see first? And I'll open that up. Would you like to see the word cloud feature, or do you want to see correct answers in PowerPoint? We're going to show you both, but what would you like to see first? Okay, a couple more seconds, and I'm going to close that off.
Quite interested in this one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We have a winner. Right, now, and I don't think Adam Warren is on the line today, but he's one of our regulars. Now, minor note, what we've done here is link these results. So all I need to do is click on the cloud, and it takes me straight to that point in the presentation.
Great stuff.
Thank you, Adam. Right, word clouds in the projector display. Now, I'm going to show it to you first from the participant point of view. So bear with me for a moment as I just bring up a projector display. So here's one I made earlier. This is a live projector display. It's hooked into this meeting. And as you can see, these are the messages that you've been sending in. Nothing special. The main thing, and I'll try and remind you about it later, when you want to do the word cloud, you need to make sure that the include polls box is ticked when you set up your projector, but it is as a default. So what I'm going to do now, just on another screen, is run an open text poll. And as Dermot said, really important that you guys take part here. So I'm going to open an open text poll. That's open. So the question to you, what words spring to mind when you think of Me Too? Now, if I could ask you to type in as many words as you can, I mean, it's still a relatively small audience today. So, think of more than one, please. Fill those 150 characters with as many as you can. If you feel so passionately about one in particular, by all means, write it out a few times. Don't forget to separate your words with spaces, or even put it onto a new line if it's easier. And of course, don't forget to press send. Now, we'll take, 30 to 60 seconds here just to give everyone a chance to think of all the wonderful things that they think of when they think of Me Too. And then we'll see a word cloud.
So just, a bit of best practice around when using word clouds. Some of you may know word clouds work on the frequency of a word and therefore take context out of everything. So when you're asking your participants to actually come up with some content for a word cloud, try and discourage them from putting in full sentences because actually it'll break up all the words and it won't really mean anything. So, encourage them to enter either one word or a series of words, but that don't necessarily need to be related, and just put a space in between them. That way you'll get a far more useful and relevant word cloud.
Well, we've got, I can see looks like people are pressing send now, so 10, 20 more seconds. I don't want to cut anybody off having sort of typed out all those words. So, finish typing your word, press send, and I'm going to close that in a few seconds, and then we'll see. So, right, I'm going to close that off, guys. So, final reminder, press send. Okay, so I've closed the poll, and as per the usual, the projector, I'm in control. It's waiting for me to push that result out, which I will do now. There you have it.
It's a good one. Polling. Interactive messaging engagement. Great stuff.
Well,
That's
folks, there it is. A lovely word cloud.
That's a really good one, yeah. It's quite nice. Well, what you'll see is, obviously we've got interactive and interaction. So, some words will be quite similar, but I like chuckle there. That's quite a good one.
That's good.
Dave, you've made it in there. Brilliant.
I made it. Yeah, great. Okay, so if I just close that down, I'm going to kind of repeat my steps here, but I'm going to show you how I set that up. So bear with me as I just drag over another window. So I'll leave the projector in the background, but hopefully now you can see on your screens our dashboard. So how did I do that? Well, I'll show you now. As Dermot said, the word cloud works on the open text poll. So the first thing we do is we're going to add an open text poll. So we create a new poll, we choose text. Let's think of something easy like what animals do you see at the zoo? Now, the next thing you need to choose is how you want to display this question in your projector. So we're going to choose word cloud, and it's as simple as that. Bearing in mind what I said earlier about as long as your projector has that box ticked to include poll results, it's really as simple as that. So we'll add that. And then I'm just going to take this off the window so you can kind of see it again. But all I'm going to do now is open that poll. So, and we don't need to take as long on this one. But if I could ask everybody again to type in a few animals, go with simple, go with crazy. Let's see what we get.
I just wanted to pick up on a question I saw just come in there in terms of spell checking. So, obviously people's devices will do a certain amount of spell checking there. So hopefully that's covered off by their dictionary. And there was another one about can you just display on the projector and not back on the apps. Currently the functionality is that it displays on the projector as a word cloud, and then the participants will see the list of those responses in the device. And what you also notice is when you actually send your responses in, it locks it in, but it also lists all your responses there, so you can still see what you said.
And as with a lot of things in Me Too, you know, the presenter, the moderator, facilitator, you know, you're in control. I've shown you how to set this up as a word cloud. You can still do both. I mean, we won't overcomplicate things today, but you can still push out that response list and still revert to it. Okay, so a few more seconds. I say I don't want to cut anybody off, but I can see that we're getting most of those responses in. So don't forget to press send, and I'm going to close that poll now. So just to repeat, I've closed the poll. You know, nothing's changed here in the projector in how it works. We close the poll. It's down to me to push those results out, which I've just done. Wonderful.
Monkey, good one.
Excellent. Pigeon.
Well, London Zoo, certainly. Yeah. And tourists. That's
excellent.
Good, yeah.
Tourists. Fantastic. Well, it's really as straightforward and as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think without any further ado, I'll just close that and come back to our slides. So this is just a screenshot. I mean, you've seen it in action now. Most people know how a word cloud works, but I like this one. This was one that we created during testing. It just gives you an idea for kind of word sizes.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did here is we had 10 instances of the word 10, 9 instances of the word 9, and so on. And all the little ones you can see there are unique, so one instance. So it just gives you a nice idea as to, you know, how big a word will be, the most popular word will be.
And just another note on that, you may not have noticed because we encourage you to just send individual words in, but there is an exception list built into this, so words like I, can, can't,
is.
Yeah, those things will be taken out, so you don't end up with too much of a messed up word cloud.
Okay, and there's one more note I think on word cloud. Yes, so it is customizable. The words in the cloud will use the colors that you can set as part of your customizable app theme. So that word cloud will reinforce any kind of styling or branding that you've put into your sessions in Me Too.
And that's great because it actually just talks to a couple of questions that have come in from you guys in terms of that customization and where do we get the colours from. So yes, absolutely.
Excellent. And I do believe that is it for word cloud. So I'm just going to go back to this slide. And again, using Adam Warren's wonderful linking tactic, we'll go over to correct answers. So, correct answers in the PowerPoint add-in. And as Dermot said, you know, this feature has been around in the dashboard. So for anyone who's used it in the dashboard, I'm sure this will be really straightforward. I mean, it essentially works in exactly the same way. Now, again, I'm just going to kind of refer to here's one I made earlier moment. I'm just going to bring over a couple of slides. So, PowerPoint presentation. Me Too PowerPoint add-in installed. Now, just to save a bit of time, I'm just going to convert these into a poll. So essentially, when you add the poll or convert, you know, this is what people are used to seeing. But obviously, the eagle-eyed amongst you would already have noticed this little extra sort of button here. So you enter your question, then you press the set correct answer. And as you can see, what that does is bring up these boxes and allows me to set that correct answer. Now, it is Ottawa. That's really all there is to it, so we'll add that. Actually, if I just make that full screen. So it's added this tick, now, and just with all of our integration with PowerPoint, you know, it's a PowerPoint shape. And that's great, because what that means is that you can, you know, make it bigger, you can use all of the formatting tools that you might be used to in PowerPoint. Now, I've just changed that to green. I'd just like to point out, you know, the color that it uses is based on the slide layout, the color palette that's in your slide template. So that that works to the presentation. But as you can see, like I say, you know, all of these fancy PowerPoint features, you know, you can still do. So really great. I'd also just like to point out that it's put the tick on the slide. How that, and this will become very clear in a moment when we run through the slides, but how that works is basically by setting it up with an animation. So, you know, don't worry, that tick won't appear on screen until you kind of chatted through your results with your participants. And you can see there it's all set up for you. Now, I'm just going to do that again to recap, but with this example, Because, you know, I'm also aware that not everybody may have used this feature in the dashboard. So for anyone who hasn't used it in the dashboard, I think it's probably worth a couple of extra points of information. So again, just to save me a bit of time, I'm just going to convert that. Now, on this occasion, which three colours are used in the Union Jack flag? We know it's red, white and blue. So same again, we add our question, we say that we want to set a correct answer, and we'll choose red, white and blue. So I just wanted to remind people here that to be recorded as having answered the question correctly, you do have to choose all three. You know, if someone voted red and white, they don't get 2/3 of a mark, or you know, they have to get all three. So that's.
And again, just pointing out that you'll see the allowed selections box is actually disabled. You can still see it, but what it doesn't mean is you can't give people 5 choices, but then only select 3 correct answers. So
nice and simple. If I add that, as you're probably expecting now, we get 3 of those ticks. And I won't bother sort of making them bigger and changing colours, but you've seen that. So what I'll do now, this is all connected to the meeting, is we'll just clear these out and run these slides so you can see it's in action. So I'll open the poll, and again, it really doesn't work any differently. And just to remind people, you know, it's all geared up for the presenter who's advancing slides. There's no extra buttons that you need to press. There's nothing extra you need to know, whether you're using the cursor key or the enter button. You just keep on advancing, and it works as you'd expect. Okay, now we'll close the poll. So at this point, and I say it was set up as an animation. Obviously, you don't want to see the tick yet because you might want to talk about, like, yeah, very interesting. Okay, looks like we have a clear winner. And the correct answer is, and there we go, it appears. And we'll just run through that second question again to recap. So it's, you know, open your poll. We just get everybody to really quickly.
Bear in mind you need to press send.
Don't forget to press send. Okay, I'm going to close the poll. And again, that tick animation is waiting for me to, well, very interesting, you know, talk, deliberate over the results. And when you're ready, you run that animation and up pop the ticks.
I would just want to point out, you know, obviously these are PowerPoint objects, and therefore if you do start to format them and customize them, somebody put in a question about putting in an image and things like that, absolutely, just put that in, just check your animations, that it's due to actually appear after the vote runs if you are creating your own ones. But if you do move these around, just make sure they're still at least somewhat in line with the actual correct answers.
So that's kind of it for correct answers. There was one other thing I think I wanted to just show people, and that's the report. Now again, there's been no change here, but I just think it's worth reminding people what you get with correct answers, because we're aware that perhaps you may not have used it in the dashboard. So again, I'm just going to bring up a sample report. Here's one I made earlier. So if you set correct answers in any of your polls, when you download your report from the dashboard, you get an extra worksheet in your spreadsheet, and that's this correct answers worksheet or tab. It looks very similar to the votes by participant, so you've got your participants from top to bottom, questions chronologically from left to right. The additional info that this gives you is it will show you what you set as the correct answer. It will tot up, you know, a score essentially, or how many polls or questions people answered correctly. It'll also tot up how many, you know, were marked correctly on a question by question basis. And then really useful with the colours here, it just kind of gives you a very clear indication. Okay, you know, people got that question, but perhaps this question here, I might need to revisit and make sure that people understood. So when you do use correct answers, you get this extra little bonus here in the report. And I think on that note, that's it from the demonstration point of view. No, it's not. A very quick point just for both of those features. Sorry, not for both, for the correct answers in PowerPoint. So we've updated the Me Too PowerPoint add-in. If you've never used it, you can download it for free on the website. That's all up to date. If you do already have it installed, then the next time you use it, you should get this notification on the left-hand side. That just prompts you to download and it'll install it there. It's really quick and easy. If for any reason you didn't want to do it there and then, or don't see it, then you can just go to Help in the Me Too tab and choose Check for Updates. So if you've already got the add-in and you can't wait to set up some correct answers, this is how you do it.
Yep, great stuff. And also just a word on the Lite add-in for those Mac users.
Yes, so for any Mac users or anyone who uses our Lite PowerPoint add-in, that's also been updated. That's all kind of web-based, so that is there now. If you can just carry on and you have that feature, and it works in exactly the same way, really.
Good stuff.
Right, so those were our 2 headline features. As always, we're always working on improving Me Too. We're not going to, read through a list of little things. There was one that we did want to mention, though. We've improved. Now, I don't want to get too technical. It's an MSI installer, but this really just pertinent for anyone out there who's a network administrator or IT manager or anyone who's thinking of rolling out Me Too throughout your organisation. So if you've got a number of people, who work with you, a number of colleagues who want to install a PowerPoint add-in, then this is something that your network administrator or your IT manager will get excited about, and it really just makes it easier to roll out through an organisation. We'll just stay with me for another couple of slides, but really this is just our prompt. I mean, I think the board's been very busy today, but do please use that discussion board to add any comments or feedback on anything you've just seen, any ideas, any questions, obviously, and we'll tackle that shortly as we approach our Q&A. So, selfless promo here. So for anyone who's not aware, Me Too does have a YouTube channel. I can urge you all to get on there and subscribe. We've got tons of video resources there. All of our webinar recordings are publicly available on there, and really the best thing to do is subscribe. That you don't get bombarded with emails. Every time we upload a video, you'll get a little notification. And even if you only subscribe to get hold of this recording for the next time we run a product update webinar like this. So my top tip there, subscribe to our channel.
Okay,
over to you, Dermot.
Cheers, Dave. Quick look at what's next. We're not going to be spending too much time on this because obviously it's been mainly about the feature release. But as always, we like to share a couple of things about what you can expect to see in Me Too soon. So first up here, we've got the single login page. So for those of you that haven't bookmarked your Me Too dashboard URL, which should say you should probably do so, but this update to our website will allow you to gain access to your Me Too dashboard via metoo.com.
And perhaps, sorry, just to interrupt,
Sure.
but people contact us all the time, especially new users or people who've just signed up and they've just forgotten their URL. So it might not seem that exciting if you're a Me Too pro, but for anyone just joining us, yeah, nice little feature that.
Sure. Then surveys, mentioned this a little while ago as well, but this is going to be a new poll type that it's going to be a survey style feature, allowing your participants to actually respond to a number of polls in their own time. So perhaps before your session starts or afterwards as feedback or throughout. It could be an exit poll or just a feedback survey afterwards. Then we've got participant authentication. So this is an increased level of security for your Me Too sessions, where only attendees that you designate will be able to log into the session on the app via a username and password. This is currently at a beta stage, but if anybody really wants to discuss that functionality, we're happy to have that on an individual basis.
And we'd love to hear from you if you are, because we'd love to hear how you expect it to work and your expectations of it.
Sure. So. As always, there's a lot to be excited about with regard to Me Too right now, and of course in the coming weeks and months. So I'll just hand back to Dave to have a little talk about some other webinars.
Yeah, just another little update. So we remind you of this, but webinar Tuesdays. So every Tuesday we run a couple of webinars. If you've missed them, or if you've got colleagues that are signing up to Me Too, or if you're new, then please do join us. I think Dermot's sending out there you go, thank you Dermot, the links to register for that. The times alternate every week, so hopefully you can find a slot that works for you. The Jump Starter is a very quick look at kind of the PowerPoint add-in, really. And then we've got a webinar that goes through some great tips. And then obviously this webinar will be back in a month or two's time with more exciting updates. So always keep an eye out for our regular webinars. And on that note, we have asked this poll before. I'm just going to open that up again. So we've got a top tips webinar. We've got a webinar about the PowerPoint add-in, the jump starter. You know, what would you like to see us introduce as our next regular webinar, perhaps added to a Tuesday? What topics excite you? So if you could just pick one of those, and we'll add that to the pot, because I say we've run this poll a few times, and then hopefully in the near future we'll be coming at you with another webinar. Okay, let's close that off.
Brilliant.
That's good. Okay.
I did.
We
Great
have a
stuff.
winner.
Thanks
Thank you,
very
folks.
much for that. Okay, just a little bit of time to go through our messaging board here. So we've got quite a few questions. So I'm going to go down to the bottom here. I think we answered a few of these questions about the colours in the cloud. So that's hopefully covered that stuff off. Lil Sebastian said, would be good if I could edit my word cloud choices without clearing them out. That's a good point. So in terms of as a participant, when you actually send, you're locked in, and if you clear, it clears all your responses. So that's a really good point. We shall certainly pass that on to the team.
I'll just pick one up here from
sure.
Neil at the top. How quickly can you change the welcome/info screen and push it out? Very quickly. I mean, I won't do it now because we're running close to the end of our time, but you can do it on the fly. You know, you can copy and paste text, upload an image. When you publish that custom info screen, it goes live. It's instant. So really, it's as quick as you can type. Neil, thank you for that question.
Sure. Can I save or export the word cloud image? Really good question from Dave there. So currently, the way you would actually save that word cloud would be to do a print screen. But you know, if there's another way you'd like to do it, certainly we have our own ideas in terms of how that might be saved and reported on in future releases of this. But please send that in; that'd be great. And sorry, I see Amy's already responded to that one. So,
participant authentication, potential for individual student reports. Now, I think our product manager's online today, so I'm sure he'll be interested about that. Thank you, Adam. And in case I've got that wrong, I guess that's kind of, you'd use the authentication to make sure that the student logs in, but then I guess what you're trying to achieve is to generate 20 Excel spreadsheets that you would give to your 20 students. Let me know if I've got that wrong.
Neil Rhodes has got a good question here. So how quickly can you change the welcome info screen? Oh, sorry. Sorry, Dave. I
did that
concentrating on reading.
Someone kindly answered it for me as well.
Yeah. Ron, will the single login page make our URLs invalid? No, absolutely not. No, you'll still be able to go directly to your URL. This is just a way for you to actually retrieve what your URL is via me2.com. So if you've forgotten it, then you'll be able to go and pick it up there.
Lots of useful stuff from Andy Dwyer. Thank you, Andy. Adam's question: what's next dev work? Well, as Dermot said, it's surveys, it's participant authentication. That's really the big things we're working on.
Okay, well, I think...
well, we've got a lot there. I think we're probably going to have to, looking at the clock, come back to some of these and circulate answers.
So just to pick up on Daryl's, we did mention it briefly. Can you change the image so it's not a tick? Yeah, absolutely. These are just, the one it creates is a PowerPoint text box, and the tick in there is a wingdings, I believe. You could change that to anything you wanted to do.
And just as it's kind of pertinent to the demonstration of the features, just to recap, but Brian's asked, how do you set the colours of the cloud? So the word colours are taken from your app theme. So you can set that in the dashboard, 3 colours you can choose.
Okie doke.
If I add one word multiple times, will it skew the results? Well, I mean, yes, because that's how a word cloud works. It counts the frequency of the words.
Yeah. Andy Dwyer's got a good question here. Is there an FAQ forum where we can find answers to some of these questions too? Yes, absolutely. So we will be sending out via a blog some FAQs. You're able to get to that via our website, via me2.com, and it's also on our help page, help.me2.io. And thank you very much, Sophie, for pasting the link to that. So if you just see that hyperlink there, you'll be able to go to the FAQs around this release. Okay, Dave.
Don't go anywhere, folks.
Yeah, please hang on for just a second.
Well, I mean, and firstly, just to thank you for all that great feedback. I know we're going to go over our half-hour time today, but so thank you. There's loads of great feedback there. If I just open that poll.
We always ask for your feedback. Really, really important. Please be brutally honest with us. We like to know what you really think, because we really need to, continually improve these sessions. Okay, I think that's about good to take on that one. And then just in terms of the on the discussion board, just please pop in there anything you think we can improve on or anything you'd like to see in other webinars, and we'll certainly pick that up and move forward with it. And just a last slide here. Please leave us a Me Too review on our Trustpilot site. It's really important for us to be able to get honest feedback, and also for other people that want to use Me Too to actually be able to see what other users really think of it. So please do go to that. I've pasted that link to our Trustpilot site. We really appreciate it if you could give us a review. Good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. It's just really good to get that feedback and to help other people make a decision. Okay, Dave, I think we're probably there. Thank you all very, very much for joining us today. Hopefully it's been useful and been really interesting with those demonstrations, Dave. And please enjoy using Me Too going forward. And we shall see you on the next What's New and What's Next webinar. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.